Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going tonight, guys? So this is me and Mohamed's, first and only mock draft of the year. We're gonna go through all the Broncos picks and talk a little bit about what Talib said a few weeks ago about there probably being another big move, most likely during the draft. We're gonna go over some other things and just get through it tonight. So first of all, Mohammed, let's talk about it. So a few weeks ago, Aqib Talib was on the arena with Skip Bayless and all them. And now remember, a few weeks ago before that, he was like, the Broncos are going to make a big move. I can't tell you what it is or, whatever. But he was like, the Broncos are going to make a big move. The very next day, the Broncos traded for Jalen Waddle. Now, 2 weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago, he said the same thing. He said, the Broncos are not done yet. They're going to make another big move, and it could happen during the draft. What are your thoughts on that?
See, Eddie, like I don't know if Akib actually has like inside knowledge, like he's got insights on what's going on with the Broncos. Like if they're actually giving him information or they're telling him about it, that could be the case. I'm not sure, but I don't know if he's guessing, Eddie. It's possible. It's not impossible. So, but if that's the case, who is it? Like who are they trading for? What position? What team? What are they giving up? There's so many questions. And now he's saying that it's really going to happen during the draft. So I guess we're fixing to find out, Eddie. You know,
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit before we went live tonight. Before we get into the mock draft, I want to get into some of that, and then we'll get into the mock draft last. Um, there's been a lot of speculation, been a lot of talks about the Broncos. Of course, we know the Broncos need, oh, a lot of people are saying running back, tight end, inside backer, defensive line, and I think in some aspects, I heard people say safety. But with that said, the biggest things I've heard the Broncos could trade, like the Broncos, they're talking about, oh, the Broncos could trade up in the draft, the Broncos could trade for a player, and I'll get into my points. But what do you think it is, Mama? Do you think it's the Broncos trading back up into the first round because they want somebody, or do you think it's a player? And if so, what player do you think it would be, and what do you think it would take for the Broncos to get to the first round or that player that they're wanting, whatever, whoever it is? But what are your thoughts?
I mean, Eddie, like we talked about before we went live. If they're moving back to the first round, then it has to be a player that they didn't think was going to drop. You know, to like say 25, 26, something like that. So they be like, okay, this is a player that we wanted. We didn't think he's gonna come down the value, like, or he's like super high on the board. Then they will probably have to give up their second round pick, maybe a player or two, and maybe a couple of picks from next year. I don't know, maybe two first round picks to get to back to the first round. It'll have to depend. That's not likely. I don't really think because basically, Eddie, if we're honest, like this year's draft it's not really impressive, you know. I mean, maybe like the first 15 or 20 players, and after that, it's like third, fourth round picks, right? I mean, that's the grade that I'm actually looking at. There's nothing that kind of like it's not like the previous drafts, right? So that's the thing. To me, what would make sense is for the Broncos to trade for an inside linebacker or even better, a pass rusher or somebody on the line, right? A defensive tackle, a defensive lineman, somebody like that. Who is it? Who's it going to be? Who's worth us doing that? That's the question, Eddie. But I honestly think if anything, any moves are going to happen, it's probably going to happen during the draft. What do you think?
Well, we talked about this, like I said, before we went live. And my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to be a trade up into the first round. I honestly, I have 100% certainty in my gut that that's not what it is. Because if it was something like that, then why would they trade for Jalen Waddle? Like you could have just stayed at pick 30, and you could have had your first, you could have had your third, you know, and you could have just done what you needed to do and took whoever it was. Um, I understand what you were saying, Mohammed. With they're gonna if they see a player fall to like late first round, they might trade up. I still don't think that's the case. Again, if that was the case, I would just stay at pick 30 for now. And if that player does fall, boom, you take him at pick 30. But if he doesn't, you could have traded back.
Correct. So, yeah.
or maybe traded for a Jalen Waddle at that point because let's be honest. Like the picks were already set in stone. Like the pick wasn't going to pick 30 and the third round pick weren't going to change what overall they were. And it could have been like the AJ Brown situation a few years back where the Eagles traded for AJ Brown in the first round of the draft a couple years ago. Like the Broncos did that. So I don't think it's a trade up into the first round, honestly. I think it's going to be for a player. Now, I know a lot of Broncos country disagree on what the Broncos should trade for. We got Waddle, so it's not going to be receiver. We know that. But a lot of people say, oh, we should trade for a running back. Oh, we should trade for a tight end. Oh, we should trade for an inside back or defensive lineman. My thoughts on this, I'm defensive line all the way. That is the biggest need on this team, and I'm not going to change my mind on that. The biggest hole that you lost this entire offseason was John Franklin Myers on the defensive line, and that's the biggest need on this team. You need pass rush. Like the whole point of, like everybody says it, offensive line, quarterback, defensive line. Those are the biggest needs on any team. You got to be able to protect your quarterback and keep him upright. Your quarterback's got to be good, and you got to be able to get to the other team's quarterback. That's the way you win football games. So as far as running back, let's talk about it. Running back, I don't see it. Like I think like there's been a lot of talks about us trading for Achane, a lot of talks about us taking Breece Hall, trading for him. That would make me mad. That would probably make me the maddest out of everything because you brought back Dobbins for a 2-year deal. I understand the injury history. I do. But Harvey, whenever he needed to step up last year, he stepped up. He had 10 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he had the most touchdowns by a rookie running back last year out of Amarian Hampton, Ashton Genty. There was another one in there. There was another running back. I forgot who it was. But he had the most touchdowns. Like, and he was a rookie. Like, give this kid time, and he's going to be good. He's on a rookie deal. And if you trade for a running back, you're gonna give up AJ or RJ Harvey. You're gonna have to. Like, you got all these weapons on offense. You got Evan Ingram, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle now, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. You got Dobbins, you got Harvey. Like, you can't bring in another running back and decide to keep Harvey because there's not going to be enough snaps to go around for all these guys. So I think if they trade for a running back, Harvey's going to be part of that deal. And honestly, I'd be really upset about that. Like, he's cheap. He's on a rookie deal. He's going to get better. He's a second-round pick. Even Javonte Williams got, 4 or 5 years in Denver. Like, give this kid at least another year. And people are like, well, what about J.K. Dobbins' injury? Well, if Dobbins gets hurt halfway through the season, just trade for a running back during the season. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, running backs usually pick up offenses pretty fast. Like that's like one of the easiest positions to fill. So I would, if you're midway through the season and Dobbins goes down again, then trade for a running back and you get to keep Harvey. And if it's Breece Hall or I'm pretty sure Achane, they want new deals. And the Broncos only have like $20 million left in cap, or 22 or something left in cap, and they still got to pay their rookie class, which is not going to be as much because they don't have a first round pick or a third, so it's not going to be as much. But still, tight end, it could be it. But I mean, do you know of any tight ends that they could trade for, Mohamed? Because Pitts is off the table. He signed with the Falcons. He's not going nowhere. You still got David Njoku out there, but they're going to sign him. Just sign him now. Why wait until the draft? Just sign him. So if they trade for a tight end, like I don't know, like you talked about Sam Laporta, possibly maybe. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do that. I mean, like I said, you got all these weapons and not enough snaps to go around. I don't know if they're going to bring Laporta in. I mean, they would probably have to trade Evan Ingram in that circumstance. So I would think it's defensive line or inside backer. Now, we talked about it a little bit before we went live, Mohamed. I don't think it's going to be inside backer either. Only because I think they're happy with Strenad and Singleton being the starting two. And hopefully, Drew Sanders comes back this year. You'll have him back. You still got you still got Reed. You still got Bailey. You still got some solid backups in there. And you got Drew Sanders. So I don't think it's going to be a backer. I think it's going to be defensive line. Now, what we talked about before we went live, Mohamed, I had your head just blowing up. I thought it was funny.
Go ahead. Do it to Broncos country.
I'm getting ready to do it. I know a lot of Broncos country is going to probably be like, what? No way. They're not going to do that. I don't know. They might. The Broncos have proven they're willing to go all in this year. And my thing is, and there's going to be players involved in this. I think there's going to be 2 players and probably a couple of picks. I know it's going to cost a lot because they're going to have to eat a lot of his cap, but I think it would put us at top of the contention for a Super Bowl. Now that we traded for Waddle, you bring this guy in, it's really gonna make you a Super Bowl contender and probably Super Bowl favorites. And that's Myles Garrett. And the reason why I say Myles Garrett is because there's been talks about him wanting out of Cleveland, and the Cleveland Browns are willing to shop him. I think it would take the likes of a corner, either Riley Moss or Jaquan McMillan, a receiver, the likes of maybe either a Franklin or Marvin Mims, our second round pick, possibly a fourth round pick, and maybe even a first round pick next year to get him into Denver. But I think the Broncos would be willing to do it, to go for that this year, because I'm pretty sure Myles Garrett, like if the Browns trade him, they're going to have to pay a lot of his salary. So, because they just signed him last year. But I think that'd be the case. And plus, you got a lot of receivers on this team. I think either Mims or Franklin, one of those guys are gone, because you got Sutton, you got Waddle. You're either going to have Franklin or Mims, and you got Pat Bryant, who you drafted last year. You got to get on the field too. On the defensive side, you got all these receivers. I think Abrams Drain is a really good backup, but you got Moss, you got McMillan, you got Jahdae Barron, and you got Surtain. And they got to get Barron on the field. He was a first-round pick last year. They got to get him more on the field. I think Riley Moss might be gone, personally. And I think him, and if I had to pick a receiver, I would say probably I'd say Marvin Mims, because he's got 1 year left on his deal. And Franklin, the connection he has with Bo Nix, Mims has still got a few years. I think it would be Mims, Moss, our second this year, a fourth this year, and a first next year, and you bring in Myles Garrett. But what are your thoughts to this, Mohamed?
Oh my God, Eddie! Like we before we went live, Eddie. I don't know why you're doing that to me. Honestly, just like I keep thinking about what that would be like. Eddie. I mean, honestly, if you're gonna do that, I don't care who you trade. You can sell the farm, as long as we keep Bo Nix. That's it. It does not matter, Eddie, what we do on offense. If you get Myles Garrett, it does not really matter, because you are not going to score on us. Your quarterback, your quarterback, good luck, honestly, like good luck. Because they're going to try to double team Myles Garrett, triple team him. Benito is going to be like, thank you very much. He's probably going to get like 19 or 20 sacks. So,
same with Zach, possibly.
Yeah, Eddie, like, I mean, honestly, if that's the thinking, please, Sean Payton, George Payton, please do it. Please do it by any means. Just bring this guy in, and we're going to the Super Bowl. I don't care about his salary, Eddie. I don't care about all that stuff. Win the Super Bowl this year, and then we'll worry about it next season. It doesn't matter. But that will definitely guarantee us going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it would be exciting. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, Talib, he put that information out there saying, the Broncos are going to make another big move. Possible, it could be during the draft. It could be after. I think it'd probably be during the draft, because, if you got to give up picks this year, you're going to have to give up that second rounder for sure. So we'll just have to wait and see. But man, it's gonna be exciting. It could. I mean, like I said, if it was a running back, I'd be upset. Tight end, I wouldn't be as upset. I just think it'd be silly. I think it's more likely if they do trade for a player, it's gonna be inside backer or defensive line. But I'm leaning more towards defensive line, because I think they're happy with their inside backer room. Because if they weren't, I think they would have kept Dre Greenlaw. Honestly, got Patrick in here. He said, "Aloha, gents. Thank you, Patrick, for being in here tonight. Really appreciate it." We're getting ready to start our mock draft here in a few minutes, but we were just talking about trade possibilities and what the Broncos could be doing big move wise, because Talib was throwing that information out there. But let's get into it, Mohamed. Let's start our mock draft. So let's see. Let me get up here and get the share screen up, and we'll get going on this. All right. Mohamed, make sure you keep up with the comments here, because I won't be able to see them go to this page.
Okay.
All right. So right now we're at the start of the draft. Broncos don't pick until 62, I believe, right? Didn't they pick the team? Hey, crap. Can I go back? Or yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. I thought I clicked on the Broncos. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. Restart. Can you see the mock Mohamed?
Yep, that's it.
Second. All right. Let's see. Yeah, the Broncos are at pick 62. Okay, cool. So we're gonna let it go through since we already talked about trades and everything. We're gonna let it go through until it gets to the Broncos. So, Mohamed, if the Broncos don't make a big move and trade for anybody, what would be the one position you would like to see the Broncos draft at 62? As you can see here, they need defensive tackle, they say tight end, backer, running back, and safety. Out of all those positions, what would be the biggest key one for you in the draft?
Honestly, Eddie, I'm fine with either a D lineman, D tackle, defensive end, or inside linebacker. Any would honestly do. It just has to be a defensive player for me. Once you go to the fourth round, you could get maybe a tight end or something, but this has to be a defensive player. But let's see when we get to
I completely.
what's available.
Oh,
There we go.
oh wow. We got 2 trade offers here based on this mock draft. We'll go through these real quick and then we'll pick our players that we think it's going to be. So, Mohamed, here it says the Baltimore Ravens are willing to offer up pick 80 of this year's draft and next year's draft, their third rounder and their fourth rounder for pick 62 and pick 170. You see the percentage here, 47 or 47.7% for the Broncos, 52.3% for the Ravens. Would you do this trade?
No, I'll pass.
Okay, so let's see. Well, I didn't skip it. I just went over it. So anyway, let's look at it here. So right here, we're at pick 62. Let's see what. So I'm going to say defensive line.
Yep.
Mohamed.
Okay.
That'd be my big thing. So D tackle here. So we got Caleb Banks from Florida. You got Grace Halton from Oklahoma. Orange from Ohio State, Jackson Jr. from Florida State, Proctor from Louisiana, and I think his name's Cogan from Louisville. I've been looking at some of these guys. Honestly, this guy right here, Grace Holton from Oklahoma, really, really good. He's got good speed. He's really big. He's really good at stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say take him. But what do you think, Mohamed?
Give me a favor, Eddie. Can you click on like the linebacker edge? Let me see the how they have it. Okay, 78. Okay. What about linebacker?
Yeah, linebacker, you got this right here. So pretty much all the best linebackers have been taken off the board, of course, by 64.
Then definitely we're going with the D tackle. So go back to that, and you said you like Halton. Okay. All right. I'm not honestly familiar with them, Eddie, so I'll take your word for it. Let's go ahead and draft him.
All right, cool. Take him there. And then now the next pick the Broncos have here, it ranked as a B+ grade for taking Halton here. Like I said, he's good size, really fast, good at stopping the run. So I would very much enjoy this pick. Let's see. Oh, crap. How do I get back? Uh-oh. Let's see here. Give me a second here, guys. Yeah, I should have probably figured this out before we went live.
It's okay.
No, that just talks about his size and everything. My draft. Crap. This is great. There's like no exit button I can get out of here either.
What about full results? What is that?
Okay, so
this just showing.
Yeah, just showing the first round. Huh. That's weird. Let's see. Oh wait, here we go. Round 2. Okay, so we got that. Let's see. I'll just restart.
Yeah, just restart. Just do.
So, but fourth round, I had to get back through it again. That's my fault, guys.
I think you have to
So,
click it all the way
so-
down to 7.
I don't think it matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter because I clicked on 4 and it's having to go through the whole thing again.
Okay.
Alright.
I'm thinking it might just stop before it wouldn't let us go to the 5th round, but we'll see what it does.
Yeah, I had to sim it. Yeah, this is new to me this year, but crap. Let's see.
It's
Should really
fun,
give
Eddie.
you a button. But
Yeah, this is the time of the year when, there's a lot of mock drafts and stuff. Too bad we don't have a pick on the 1st round. I know it was exciting the past
yeah,
year, but
you got Jalen Waddle, you got all these
Here.
guys, so it should be fun this year. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Reject. Okay. We took what's his face? Halton, I think his name was.
Mhm.
And he's out on the board here now. Or wait, maybe he is. Let's see. Yeah, he's there.
Okay.
So draft. We'll keep going. So next up, we got pick 108 in the 4th round. I think you're right, Mohamed. 7th round. That's why I did that.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I'll just have to restart it again. But yeah, anyway, so we got Halton at pick 62. Good defensive line. So the next position, since we got D tackle, you got linebacker, running back, safety, and tight end. What would you want to see next? I think I know you're going with this, Mohamed, but would you rather have a tight end, linebacker, running back, or safety next?
I'd probably go with the linebacker, Eddie, depending. But if we have like the other needs that we have, and we have a player that's highly rated, we could do that since we have 2 picks on the 1st round, right?
Yeah, pick 111 and pick 108.
108. Okay. So let's see what we have available.
I'm
Linebacker
here. So
See
let's
that-
see. You got Ellsmer, Omar, Lewis, Perkins Jr. Who would you like to see the Broncos take?
Are you familiar with any of them, Eddie?
The one I've heard the most about is this York guy right here. So I heard he's really good in the rushing attack, but not so much in pass coverage. But what do you think?
Click on the offense because he might be available on the next pick.
Who's that?
The York. What's his name? York, the guy you were talking about.
Yeah. But
this-
what position are you looking at on offense here, Mohamed?
Let's look at tight end. Wow, this guy is he's ranked pretty high at 86.
Claire, yeah, Ohio State. I heard good things about him. He's really good at catching the ball, which is basically the same thing as Evan Ingram. Any other position you want to see here, Mohamed?
Running back. Your favorite.
Yeah, totally.
Nah,
Oh, wow.
Like that. I'd really wait. I'd really wait. If we're going for a running back, there's probably plenty. And
Okay. Did you want to see any of the offensive linemen?
Yeah, let's do that.
Offensive tackle, I know you said that. Isaiah World, I've heard really good things about him. He's a bit of a project, but he's really, really good out of Oregon. I think he played with Bo Nix there for a while, or for like a year or two. So
he might be a good piece to add, Eddie, for, like I said, the project, because we're only going to start. I don't know when Bo's going to retire. Probably got a couple more years, right, in his contract.
I think he's got like a year or two left on his deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he might play
Eddie,
retire.
Let's go ahead and draft the York guy, and then we can address the offense on the Next pick.
Defense linebacker. Take York here from Texas A&M. All right. We're down to the next pick, 111. What position would you like to look at now, Mohamed?
Okay, we got linebacker, we got defensive tackle. Let's look at tight end again.
All right, that clear guy's still there.
All right, let's go ahead and get him then, Eddie. If he dropped.
All right, take him there. And now I think our next pick, if I remember correct, Mohamed,
I think he's
is
going to
not
go to the first round.
I think our next pick is like, let's see, second, 2 4s, a fifth, 3 7s. I think we have a 5th round pick, if I remember right, Mohamed.
5th round, okay.
So yeah, I think it's gonna stop. Yep, there you go. So our grades on this one, you got a B for Halton, and you got a C for York, and you got an A plus for Claire there on at pick 111. So,
I mean, honestly, Eddie, like if he drops, and he, look at his grade. If he drops to that, I would think the Broncos should go after him.
Who's that?
Max Claire. Is it Claire?
Yeah, Claire. Max Claire, tight end.
Yeah.
So that's the best pick we've had so far was him. The defensive tackle that we took, or I'm sorry, who was it? Yeah, the defensive tackle that we took, B plus, really good. It could help you with that line. That's your 2nd round pick. And then both your 4th round picks, you take a inside backer. It's a C plus or C minus. I'm sorry. But you don't, based on this mock draft, you really don't have a whole lot. Like a Sonny Styles, of course, he's not going to be there in the 4th round. The other one, I forgot what his name was. He wasn't going to be like the big inside linebackers. They're not going to be there in the 4th round. And then you get yourself a tight end to, maybe back up Evan Ingram. I mean, you still got Adam Troutman, but that they consider that an A plus pick, which is good. So, but yeah, you got those, and I think that's what 1, 2, 3. I think you have a 5th, and then you got 7 picks this year. So there's your 3. You got 4 more left. You got a 5th, and I think 3 7s. So we're gonna have to restart this draft. I think you're right, Mom. I think I screwed up whenever I didn't hit 7 rounds.
Yeah, let's just do 7.
That's my fault. This draft to me is a new one. It's new. It takes.
Eddie, you want to do it fast?
I should have figured this out before.
Speed
but yeah, so.
There was a.
I didn't see. Here, restart. Let me
Clayton.
Real quick.
Clayton just.
Yeah, Clayton. I'm sorry about this. Like this.
Sorry, guys. Eddie's doing the mock draft, so I cannot honestly bring the comments, but I see you guys in. Clayton, thank you. Let me see who else. And then Patrick from earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, let's see. He's still there. We took him. Linebackers next. Okay, reject. We're not doing any trades in this, so take that out. We got that one. And then what was the next one? It was a tight end. Boom. That Claire guy's not there. So no, the Claire guy's not there in this mock draft. We'll just pick the next best one, and we'll move on.
Okay.
We already talked about it, so we know what we got. Yeah, our next pick's 170. I believe that's so. All right, reject. All right, so now we're sitting here at pick 170, Mohamed. So we got our defensive line, we got our inside backer, we got a tight end. What would be the next one? Like I said, the only other 2 big needs we have on the board here, they say, is running back and safety. What would you like to look at next?
Let's look at safety first, and then we can look at running backs.
Okay, safety. Yeah. All right. You got Husky from Maryland, Williams Jr. from Old Miss, Candy from Oregon, Thomas from Miami, Florida, and then Brooklyn.
Okay, let's click on running backs because this guy I don't like the way, his grade is kind of low, honestly. So maybe you find a nice running back. So, oh well, it's about the same. Yeah, Eddie, we'll go with the next safety, and then we'll pick a running back later.
Yeah, his running backs are a dime a dozen. So I don't
Yeah.
really know too much about these safeties here, Mohammed. I haven't really had a chance to look at any of these guys. Um, I think the only one I've really heard of was this Williams Jr. from Old Miss, only because he went to Old Miss. Based on what I heard, he's really good in the box, like coming down and playing the run, which I don't know if that'd be a good thing because you already got two inside linebackers that are good at stopping the run. You drafted a tackle that's really good at stopping the run. Um, I think Candy here from Oregon, I think he's good as like a hybrid safety, really
Mhm.
good in like passing game. I think I would go Jade Candy here
Yeah, let's
personally.
do that, Eddie. I like hybrid players that can actually do multiple things.
All
That
right,
was
and then we
supposed
got
to be that was supposed to be Baron, Eddie. I'm just saying.
yeah. Now you got three seventh round picks, 246, 256, and 257. So now you're sitting here, and these are basically going to be like practice squad slash
Mhm.
backup players. Personally, Mohammed, I would like to look at some maybe offensive tackles here,
Okay.
or offensive linemen in general is what I'd like to look at. So let's see what we got. We got offensive tackle. There's not really. I think this Ricci guy right here, from Penn State. I've heard some stuff about him. Really good in pass protection. Let's see.
Guard.
Uh, let's see. Oh crap! This freaking thing keeps popping up over here, man. It's driving me nuts. Got a couple of guards here. Alex Harkey, DJ Campbell, Dylan Wade. Dylan Wade really good in the run game. Campbell, he's really good in the run game, and I think Harkey here is really good in the pass pro game. And this guy has played with Bo Nix, so I would just off sheer, with this just being a backup practice squad type of guy, I would go with the guy that's played with Bo Nix personally. But what do you think, Mohammed?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm kind of in agreement with you.
Actually, let's take a look at centers here too, real quick. Not there's not really anybody there. I think there's Gavin Grinhart. I heard a little bit about him. Not very good. Better in the run game, but yeah. So I'll take the guy from Oregon to give Bo Nix that familiarity. And the Broncos have the last two picks in the draft here, Mohammed. Pick 50,
Well,
256, 7. So, what other position would you like to look at? Like, would you like to look at running back here, Mohammed?
yeah, let's do that.
So you got Jalen. I've heard some stuff about him. Wow, I didn't think he would fall away in the seventh round. He's really good. He's like a speed guy, from my understanding, from Oklahoma. Desmond Reed. I heard a little bit about him. Good in pass pro. The rest of these guys, I think Bullock was a good shifty running back. But who would you like to take here, Mohammed?
I guess we can go with Jaden, Eddie. He said that he didn't think he'll drop, right?
I didn't think he would drop this far. I thought he'd go at least like maybe in the fifth. So take him. And then you got 257. What is there any? Would you take a quarterback in this draft?
I
I
was
mean, I know
about to
that
say that, Eddie. You read my mind.
they got Bo Nix, they got Jared Stidham for another year, and I think they brought back Sam Ellinger, and I can't remember, is Ben DiNucci still there? But
I don't think
I
they
mean,
wrote Benucci, did they?
I think he was on the practice squad. This Jack Strenad guy, I'm surprised he dropped that far. I heard he would have been really, really good. Um, I heard a lot of people mock him in like the sixth round, but like again, this is gonna be more of a, you know, uh, like a practice squad type of dude. Maybe he could be the long term solution at backup, but I mean, is there any other positions you'd like to look at, Mohammed?
Honestly, Eddie, at this point, it would not matter. we pretty much let's look at edge, Eddie. Look at edge. Let's see if there's any. I always like those stories, Eddie, when you get a player like an undrafted player or a player you pick on the later rounds and it turned out to be Pro Bowler.
Hey,
Those,
Jonathan Cooper was a 7th-round pick. So,
what I'm saying.
Based on what I see here, the biggest name I see on this board that I've heard some of is Patrick Payton there from LSU. Haven't really heard much other than he's a big dude, but out of all these guys, have you heard any of the? I think Kelly I've heard a little bit on from UFC, or I'm sorry, UCF. So, but if I were to bet man here, I would take Patrick Payton, honestly.
All right, let's do it, Eddie. Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah, basically. So let's see how our grades turned out. If I could scroll down, my computer would work. All right. Ignore the tight end here, guys, at 111, because that's not the tight end we would take. The tight end we took was an A+. It was our best grade out of the entire draft. But you got a B+ for the defensive tackle. York, we already said C-. That's probably the worst. You got let's see. You got we got Claire, the tight end, which was an A+, so we're going to ignore that one. And then going back to here, we took safety Jade Candy out of Oregon, safety C-. So that was just as bad as the York one. Still, like 5th round, anywhere from like the 5th to 7th round, dude. You're really just building depth on the roster, backups, maybe practice squad guys. So the offensive guard that we took out of Oregon, just for the simple fact that he would have had chemistry with Bo Nix, he's a B-, which is not bad. He could turn into maybe something, maybe. Jalen Ott, the running back from Oklahoma, is a B-. We got a lot of running backs on this roster, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey. He brought McMillan back. I think they brought Bidet back. Hell, I think they even brought, what's his name? The other running back, Deuce Vaughn, I think, is going to be on the practice squad. So it'd be a little competition there, maybe. And then we took edge, Patrick Payton, out of LSU at 257, which was a B-. So, and I think they brought back Tillman. You still have Q Robinson, who you drafted last year. And who was the other backup or edge guy that we brought back? It was Q Robinson, Tillman, and I'm blanking here on the other edge guy. Cooper, Benito, Tillman, Q Robinson. Who was the other one? There was another one. And I know I'm going to hit myself whenever I say his name.
I don't know, Eddie.
Ellis. Jonah Ellis. How can I forget?
Hey, Eddie. So, Ellis, did you hear Sean Payton saying that they're trying to experiment with him, moving him into inside linebacker? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. I heard it a few weeks ago, and I haven't heard nothing since.
That kind of pissed me off.
That doesn't mean it. Why is that?
Because Eddie, we're trying to go to the Super Bowl. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. We don't have time for this, whatever Sean Payton is trying to do. Let's try this or try that. We don't have time for that. If we're doing that, let's bring in a real inside linebacker, somebody. I'm not saying Ellis is not going to be good at it, but I'm just saying let him play his natural position. And let's either draft or sign a player, trade for inside linebacker, something like that. I don't think they're taking this inside linebacker position seriously. That's what I think.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know with all that, but I will say this is that I think the reason why they're trying to do that, Mohamed, is for the fact that I don't think they trust Drew Sanders. Like, Drew Sanders should be a solid backup to have at linebacker, inside backer. And, we didn't see him at all last year. I'm pretty sure he was healthy last year. We didn't see him at all. Like, that tells me a lot. That tells me that they don't really think he is that caliber type player. They'd rather just go with Stranad and Singleton. So, I don't know. Maybe they're going to move Jonah Ellis to inside backer, try him there, even though like, I agree with you to an extent, but it's like, they need help at inside backer. And if they're going to take a, edge guy in this draft, which we did pick, granted, it was late round in the draft. It might even be earlier than that. This is just our mock draft. They got Q Robinson. They got Tillman, who, by the way, is a beast. I love Tillman. He came from the UFL. I think he played for, I think it was the DC Defenders, who were kicking the crap out of my Battlehawks last year or a couple years ago. So I know what kind of game wrecker he could be. He's really good in the NFL. He's had I think like 5 sacks last year, and that's good for a guy coming up from the UFL. So I mean, it's possible. They need. I would say they probably need more depth at inside backer than they do edge. So you still got Tillman. You still got Q Robinson, who you drafted last year, who's been a really good special teams guy. They're probably going to want to get him on the field more, honestly. So, but that was a good draft, I think. We got a lot of B's and A's. We got a couple of C's in there. But let's get through these comments real quick, Mohamed, because we're at 41 minutes and I got stuff I got to do tonight, man. Like, kids are driving me nuts. Host, Graham, of course. Good evening, everybody. We already got Patrick's comment. Host again. Hi, Patrick. Oh, he was saying hi to him. Let's see. We got one here from, who is that? Surge Sports. Surge Sports, I think it is. Hi, Patrick. Got a couple here from Graham. Full results. Restart, I guess. Yeah, talking to us. Did you select 3? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see your comments there, Graham, because I was in the other page. I couldn't see him. Clayton in here. He's like, hey, guys. And then Clayton in here again. Smash that like button and share, guys. Thank you, Clayton. Really appreciate that.
Thanks, Clayton.
Excuse me. Clayton in here. Linebackers. He said, Clayton again. He said safety, lineman, question mark. Let's see. Okay, and that's all the comments. Got a few here from Graham, but we'll talk about this a little bit more. We still got, like I said, I got to dip out early tonight, guys. I got a lot of stuff I got going on with my kids tonight. But Mohamed, final thoughts on the mock draft, and again, we'll kind of talk over what would be the biggest move the Broncos would make trade wise that would really shock you, that you'd be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Kind of like the Jade Parent pick from last year, but what were your thoughts?
Honestly, Eddie, I have a feeling that they might select a tackle, a guard, or something like that, like on the second round, saying, hey, this is a really high-graded player. You can never have enough linemen, so let's do that. If they don't like whatever defensive players that are available in the second round, that's going to really piss me off. The worst would be another cornerback. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. But I honestly, Eddie, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen their press conference. It was a couple of days ago.
I think so.
Yeah, I watched a little bit, but they're still they're holding their cards too close. Like, they're not really saying much. Ideally, like I said, I would like to see a defensive player, maybe at least for the first 2 picks, right? One in the second and then maybe in the 4th round. That's what I would like to see. But I don't know what the thinking is, Eddie. I don't know if we're actually going to be making, like Aqib Talib, he's really persistent about us making a big move. So he knows something we don't know, right? I don't know. We shall see. But whatever they do, please let it be a defensive player,
The one move that would surprise me the most, like, I would be like, man, really? Like, not surprised in like a good way. I'd be more surprised in a disappointing way. Like, really? Like, there's 2 that would really happen. One I said was they trade for a running back, like a Brees Hall, Devon Achane. I'd be like, really, dude? Really? And like in that scenario, if they were to do that, I think Harvey would be gone. They're not going to bring in another running back and keep Harvey. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to trade Dobbins either. They just gave him a 2-year deal this past offseason. So that would be my first big one. I'd be like, really? What the heck are we doing? The second one would be if the Broncos traded back up into the first round. I'd be like, You had the 30th overall pick. If you really thought there was a player there that could make a difference on this team, because basically a first round pick is like, in most teams' minds, it's like, hey, a first round pick is going to be able to maybe not start right away, but it's like, dude, you expect him to start at some point this season and be a contributor.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd even go as far as to say a second round pick, even in that scenario. So I just be like, what are you doing, man? I understand the Wild trade. I'm happy. I'm glad we got rid of the 30th overall pick and got Jalen Waddle. That's a big signing. But it's like, if you were going to draft someone in the first or trade back up in the first to get someone, why didn't you just stay put? Like, you're giving up more draft capital. I mean, yeah, you're going to be giving up a player regardless, but it's like, dude, why? And we talked about it earlier. Like, I think it was Peter Schrager, somebody on one of the shows, basically said that like the first 15 picks in the first round, those are actual first round picks. Those are blue chip guys that you can get that you bring into the team that could be day one starters. After that, after pick 15, like pick 16 to 32, those are not first round picks. Those are basically second round picks that get first round grades because they have to, because there's 32 picks in the first round. These most of the time are not first round, or they're not day one starters. They're going to take some time to get, ready to go play. So, like, if you're going to trade a bunch of picks or even a player up to get back in the first round to pick a freaking, player that you could just pick to pick 30 and you didn't have to give up anything, why? And but one of the biggest ones that would surprise me in a good way, I would be happy. I wouldn't say sell the farm, but I'd be fine with giving up first round pick next year, second round, fourth round this year. A Marvin Mims, a Troy Franklin, one of those two guys, or Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan, one of those guys, would be, we talked about it, Myles Garrett. That would make, you get Waddle on the offense and you get Myles Garrett on the defense. Holy crap. This team would be scary. I don't think the Chiefs would ever want to mess with us. I really don't. And I actually heard earlier today that the Chiefs are in talks with, I think, the Cardinals right now to trade up to the third overall pick from 9. That's what the Chiefs are doing right now.
I wonder what they're trying to get.
If I had to guess, I would say it's either going to be a corner or an offensive tackle or offensive lineman in general. Like, they need guard, they need another tackle. So if I had to guess, I would say tackle. I would say offensive lineman, because they got to keep Patrick Mahomes up if they want to be competitive this year. They have to. And right before we went live, guys, I don't know if you guys saw it, but news broke that the New York Giants, and this is one guy I was thinking about. I was going to talk about him, about the Broncos maybe possibly trading for him because he requested a trade, but that is no longer an option now, because right before we went live, Dexter Lawrence is being traded to the Cincinnati Bengals from the Giants to the Bengals for pick 10 overall this year and some other stuff. They didn't give the list of what the other part of it was. But so Dexter Lawrence is off the market now. And but that was a bummer. But Mohamed, what were your thoughts on that when you saw that?
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer to me, Eddie. Especially like I'm looking at what they had to give up. We don't have a first round picks this season, but if we're getting him, you can give up a first round pick next season. Yeah. He's a very good player, Eddie. Like, I mean, he's not a Myles Garrett. Maybe it's like a different position, but he's really good. So,
well, if the Broncos trade for someone big, like I said, Myles Garrett, Dexter Lawrence, or even some big tight end or big running back, whatever, well, maybe not running back, but tight end, running back, inside backer, the Broncos trade up for like a big name, they're going to have to give up their first round pick next year.
Yeah.
That's going to be the nature of the beast.
Hey, I don't care. I honestly don't care, Eddie. It's probably going to be a low. It's going to be like in the 30s anyway. So,
well, that's the other thing too. Like, how good's that first round pick for the Broncos going to be next year?
Yeah.
If they trade for a blue chip like a Myles Garrett, think about it. If they trade for a Myles Garrett, like, that's going to make them instantly Super Bowl contenders with the Waddle thing, the Myles Garrett thing. Just hypothetically, if they do that, that pick's probably going to be 30 to 32. It's going to be like the last pick of the first round.
Eddie, would you give up 2 first round picks? I know we don't have one this year, but next year and the year after.
Myles Garrett, I mean, I don't know. It just depends, honestly, because if you're going to give up 2 first round picks for Myles Garrett, it's like, dude, you got to win a Super Bowl because you're
He's worth it, though, Eddie. He's
After
what?
2027, you're not going to be able to pay Myles Garrett because you got to pay. You're going to have to pay Bo Nix. You're going to have to pay if you want to keep Jalen Waddle around. You're going to have to pay him, and you're going to have to try to pay him out. You ain't going to be able to pay all those guys after all the guys you already paid. So it's I don't know, man. We got one in here from Graham. He's like, this is the first time a player has been traded without any additional compensation for a haul that included a top 10 pick in this year's draft since the Vikings traded for Randy Moss and the Raiders in 2005, exchanged a haul including the seventh overall pick that year per ESPN. Wow.
It's crazy.
Damn, dude. So wait, what are you saying? Like, Graham, that they only gave up the 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence? He said this is the first time a player has been traded without any additional compensation for a haul.
I could just look it up, Eddie.
Wow. No, that's what he's saying. He's saying that the Bengals only traded the 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. That's it.
See, that's crazy, Eddie.
Dude, if that's the case, we could have freaking traded Riley Moss, Jaquan McMillan, one of those two, and or freaking Mims or Franklin, and probably a freaking second rounder this year and got him.
But we're getting Myles Garrett, Eddie. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but you're going to have to give up a lot more than that. That's for damn sure.
Honestly, Eddie, for me, you say Myles Garrett, I do not care. Sell the farm.
Hey, I got one for you. What if we trade for Max Crosby from the Raiders?
Hey, I'll take him. They won't trade him to us, but God.
Well, they're not going to get much out of him. Like after what the Ravens did to him, which I kind of feel bad for the Raiders, but it's like they're not getting 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't trade him to
they
division rival. They wouldn't. But I'll take him. Funny. He's a really good player, Eddie. He's really good.
But I'm excited, man. The draft starts on Thursday. Broncos don't pick till Friday. That's if they don't trade up to the first round, which I hope to God they don't. I really would hate that. But any final thoughts, Mohamed, before we get out of here tonight?
I mean, Eddie, like I know you have to get out of here quickly, but I just want to say, Eddie, like it's something we talked about before we went live about the Broncos and how things were last season, about their record and all that stuff. I'm just gonna say that we need to be cautious. Last season, a lot of the games we won were pretty close. A lot of them we won in the fourth quarter. And it's Bo Nix, he's very clutch. Like that was on him. A lot of these games, they were really close, and we shouldn't just be fooled or just assume that it's going to be a smooth sailing for us. I'm not saying the Broncos are bad, but I'm just saying that a lot of these teams have upgraded. They made some changes, so it's going to be a tough competition. So we should just keep that in mind, as the season progresses. And I'm pretty sure the Broncos are going to be okay. But I'm just saying that we should kind of temper our hopes.
Yeah, I don't know about the Chiefs. Like again, we talked about it. I don't think Mahomes is gonna be back before the start of the season. I think he's gonna miss half. They're gonna have a new tackle or a new offensive lineman in some kind, probably a new defensive line guy. Travis Kelce ain't gonna be a threat really much anymore. The receivers don't scare me. The Chiefs could be trading up to that third pick to get Jeremiah Love because they don't think he's gonna be there at pick 9. But I don't know why they would do that. They brought in Kenneth Walker, and they need a corner bad. So we'll have to see how that works. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be like top tier without Mahomes, and they're going to have a lot of new players on that roster this year. The Chargers, they'll probably be better than the Chiefs, honestly. They get both their tackles back this year. If they can stay healthy, the Chargers could be a problem. Raiders are going to be better than what they were last year. They're not going to win over 500 games, I'll tell you that, but they're going to be a tough cookie to play this year. They really will. They got Max Crosby still. They brought in 2 linebackers. They brought in the center. They're going to have a young quarterback. They brought in Kirk Cousins. They got a coach that I would think is finally going to be the right guy. So, I think the Broncos still win the division this year. I do think it's going to be harder though, because the Bills are, they brought in DJ Moore. The Ravens, they got a new head coach. We'll see how that goes. I mean, other than the normal participant, I mean, even with this Dexter Lawrence trade, like that can make the Bengals even dangerous again this year. As long as Joe Burrow can stay healthy. But They desperately need offensive line. They just traded their first round pick. Like, they need offensive line. Otherwise, Joe Burrow is going to get killed. They got their defense. They got their defensive player they needed, the defensive stud they needed. They got him. They got the receivers. They got the quarterback. But they need offensive line to keep Joe Burrow up, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt again. So it's all the normal, same teams that you have to worry about every year. But I think most of these teams, they have their problems. Like the Broncos, the only thing they really lost that I'm worried about is, like I said, John Franklin Myers. If they upgrade that position with a Myles Garrett or a good player in the draft, they, whatever, or they trade for a really good player, it don't matter. Like, I think the Broncos are going to still be really deadly. As long as Bo Nix stays healthy, they're going to be fine. So, but that's it for us tonight, guys. Really appreciate you guys all being on here tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. But that's it for us. And I'm not sure, but we'll be back next Saturday. I mean, of course, we got the 3 days of the draft, but we'll see how that goes, because I know the draft is on Saturday. It should be over by the time we go live next Saturday, I would think. I'm not sure.
Probably, yeah.
But that's it for us, guys. Appreciate you guys being here tonight, and we'll see you next